What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am, of course, your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger, a.k.a. your bastard of ceremonies, a.k.a. the king of sleaze, a.k.a. the son of glam, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., and the hard science will soon prove that. Pops is looking down on me. The Freddie Mercury puppet is in full effect tonight. The teeth are out. What else could you ask for? Take one look. It's undeniable that you were looking at the son of glam. Mr. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am. Shazam, hot damn. I'm feeling so good, and more importantly, I'm looking good. And we got a great guest tonight. I'm super excited. This is a band that I fucking love. So we're going to get down to it and chop it up. This is where the cool kids come to chop it up and chat with the master of ceremonies himself, Reckless Rexx. So let's get down to it. I'm excited, man. Been waiting to get this guy for a while, and it's here. Anthony.
Hello, hello.
Looking at you sideways, but that's all right. I'm happy that I'm looking at you, man. There he is. Yeah. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Listen, man, I'm super excited to have you on here, man. I mean, as a hardcore fan, man, and a 51-year-old guy, admittedly, it is hard for me sometimes to open myself up to newer bands. Thankfully, the podcast has really helped me do that, man. But to discover newer hardcore, and I wouldn't, I guess, call you guys a new band. I mean, it's just 20 years now, right?
Yeah, coming up on 20 years.
Crazy, man. I mean, I love what you guys do, man. Fucking love it, man.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah. So if we can backpedal a little bit, Anthony, and even before like the take offense days, man, what was the earliest seed that was planted for you that got you on the trajectory of music? Like, was it a specific artist or a band or a song, an album?
It was my dad handing me his guitar when I was really young.
Okay.
And then as soon as that happened, I knew I wanted to do music, something involved with music, like a direct focus, and nothing else mattered.
and about what age was that for you?
Elementary school.
Yeah.
I think I was like 9 years old or something like that, you know?
So you knew pretty early on.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as like really getting into music like that, it wasn't until like middle school or something like that, you know?
And what was the first shit that you remember, man? Like artist wise, like what was really getting you excited back then?
Oh, I mean, probably when I first started hearing stuff like, just punk stuff, like Dead Kennedys, Misfits, and stuff like that, and Minor Threat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I had some friends that I met, you know, like back then we were skating a little bit, you know, and then you recognize who was skating, you become friends. They had older brothers that were into like punk, hardcore, and stuff like that. And so you know, I didn't have no brothers or sisters, so my brothers and sisters were close friends, and I would learn through them, you know. So.
And what about go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Yeah, no, just some stuff like that, you know. I mean, I probably heard punk and all that first through like video games, like Tony Hawk and stuff.
Yeah.
So like when I was younger, that was probably the first stuff I heard, but didn't really latch on until I met friends that knew about it, you know.
No, I'm obviously pretty biased because I am a New Yorker, man. And so, you know, arguably, man, to me, I think New York has one of the greatest, if not the greatest, hardcore scene. Now, was that stuff reaching you out there, man? Like, i.e. the Agnostic Fronts and the Sick of It Alls and the Madballs and, you know, all the great shit that we have out here on the East Coast?
Yeah, most definitely. I bought an Agnostic Front CD when I was 15 or so. And, you know, given it was like the later stuff, like Another Voice era, you know. But then I had friends that like, you know, made me hip, like, no, you got to listen to the early on stuff. And so I heard Victim in Pain. It was like game over.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
One album that takes a whooping from them a lot, but I think is really reminiscent of what you do, man, is the Cause for Alarm album. You know, that's the one where I feel, that's the one where I feel like, you know, the hardcore fans, it's a polarizing album because they didn't really like that they started to add kind of like the more like metal-y and thrash elements to it, which is what I love the most about what Take Offense does.
Absolutely. That record, Cause for Alarm, and like you know, I already loved Agnostic Front, but that like took the interest to another level for sure.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
like that one it hit me different, along with like the Suicidal, How Will I Laugh Tomorrow.
Yes.
When I got my hands on those records, it like, for me, it like, you know, it brought me to just a different way of seeing things for sure.
Right.
Along with like DRI's Thrash Zone and stuff like that. Like I heard those records all around the same time, and it was like, oh, this is.
I hear a lot of those elements in your music. Yeah, for sure. The Suicidal, Excel, you know what I mean? Like bands like that, you can hear a lot of in your music. So when you guys get together and make an album, like what is the creative process like as far as like you guys as a band? Does somebody come in with the lion's share of the ideas? Is it very collaborative and democratic where everyone's kind of pitching ideas in?
I would say I write some of the music, you know. Greg writes like the thick of it. I think, you know, we do a lot of writing on our own time, but we'll bring it to the table. That way, like anyone has anything else they want to add to it or stuff like that, you know. But a lot of the stuff will be written on our own personal time, you know, like the thick of it, you know, and we'll bring it so everyone could hear, and we'll jam things out, you know. But yeah, and I write all the lyrics, so.
You write all the lyrics. Okay. And so for you personally, man, you know, you getting away from the band side of things, you know, when you're going to create just personally, you on your own, do you have some type of a ritual? Like, where do you find the most creative inspiration? Like I hear a lot of musicians come on here and say they get a lot of great ideas at work or in their car. I hear the car a lot. Or, you know, you get some of the real introspective people who go into a room and they sit and they write. I don't know how successful you can really be when you sequester yourself away like that. Some people find it, you know, helpful. For you personally, like, what's your process like? Ideas just coming throughout the day?
Yeah, I would say it's super chaotic for sure. Like, but everything that you mentioned are things that I do. Like, I would say some of my personal favorite stuff I've come up with. Some of it, I couldn't name exactly what right now, but definitely driving. Driving is a big one.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of time it would be driving to the session or something, you know, and I'll have put a little note or something, you know, just little one-liners or something. And I would say half of it super crazy, chaotic, and the other half is me sitting down, like listening over and over to the songs, like, and staying up late into the night. Yeah. That style, you know, like when everyone's asleep, I'm up.
Are you the type of person where like you get an idea and you have to like kind of see it through? Like you're talking about staying up late. Like, do you kind of get like almost like obsessive about it if you've latched onto an idea?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I have a pretty good, I know myself pretty well. Like I know that if I come too obsessive over something, it's not going to come out good, and I won't get it done. So I just have to like, you know, hello.
Yeah, I just lost your camera, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Usually there's a button at the bottom of the screen too, like a camera icon.
Let's see. I'll see if I can't get it back real quick. Oh, here we go.
There you go. Yeah, so you know like when to put an idea to bed and say, okay, I can't keep harping on this.
Yeah, like I'll just drive myself crazy. So, but I don't just give up. Like I put some real effort into it, you know, like to really analyze what I'm feeling and my thoughts and things, you know, and I don't just want to say things just to say things, you know. It's what I really mean and what I really feel, you know.
Yeah. So the last full LP came out in 2019. You guys did have an EP out in between there, but the last full length album was 2019. So it's been 5 years though. So what's been going on, like for the fans, you know, who might not know, like what goes on in that whole 5 years? Obviously, the music business, I don't have to tell you, has changed so much that you know, I think around COVID time, I've talked to a lot of artists on here that say around COVID time, it really seemed like the trends really started to change. You know, I think people's attention spans, coupled with the fact that they have dwindled, and there's just such an influx of music on the streaming platforms that it almost felt like an urgency with artists to like, we got to put out singles or EPs and keep coming out with music so people don't fucking forget. You know what I mean? You know, but you guys took a full 5 years. Was it deliberate?
Not necessarily. No, it just it came down to like scheduling issues. Our guitarist Greg, he played in a band called Turnstile, who was on the road for a while, so he was gone a lot. He was on tour, so that took a minute for guitars to get finished, but also, you know, not just him. We recorded the album in LA, so you know, just scheduling like our work life and you know, trying to find time for us to finish things. And also like Nick Jett of Terror is the one that recorded it, so we had to like work with his schedule as well, because he's always on the road as well, you know. So things just, it wasn't so deliberate, it just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, but I also like what you did though, because you didn't really follow that trend though, and you guys came out with a full-length album, and not just a full-length album. I mean, it's let me look at my notes here. It's a trim 42.5 minutes, but a full 14 songs, really a fully realized album. You know what I mean? You didn't really say 5, 6 songs, 7. You know what I mean? You kind of see that trend with a lot of bands right now, and the fact that you packed it with a lot of songs. And it's fucking, you know, it's a complete work, but it's fucking solid from top to bottom, though. I mean, so, you know, maybe there's something to be said for, you know, for taking your time with it, though, too. Because that you really used to be the template for music back in the day. You'd see a band put out an album, and then they wouldn't do anything for 3 or 4 years. Obviously, they would tour in between, and they would promote the album or whatever. But you wouldn't see this, you know, constant, something coming out every year. That really wasn't the trend back in the day.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think maybe it took a little bit longer than we wanted it to, but also we prefer that because we've never taken this long from start to finish. Have it take that long. But it was kind of nice to like not feel pressure from anyone really. It was, the pressure came from ourselves. You know, eventually it got to the point where like, all right, we gotta get down to business and let's wrap it up. You know, but it started to feel like that. But no, it's nice to like take your time to a certain degree, and like, you know, because there's been plenty of times, like every other release probably, where it's like, oh, you know, like it probably would have been cool to add this or that, right? You know, like you come up with ideas later, you're like, damn, it would have been sick, you know. But you know, that being said, I love everything. I don't regret or really feel like we missed out on older releases, but it's cool to like be able to like really, you know, polish it up and all that.
Now, explain the title. Obviously, it's Totality, but there is an emphasis put on the T.O., obviously, for the take offense part of your band. You know what I mean? But what's the you know, who comes up? You know, who labels the actual title of the album, and like, what does it mean, or like, what are you trying to say through the total? You know, through the actual the message of the album, Totality.
Yeah, totality. You know, since it means by definition, it's like a whole, and encompasses like a whole work, a whole being of work. So for me, it's like if you're new to Take Offense, like it's a perfect album to like listen to us, and like this is like everything that Take Offense is up to this point, you know. And it's not that much deeper than that, as far as like, you know, I just seen the word, and in my mind I seen it spelt out that way, you know, and I thought it was kind of like unique in that way, you know. And I just thought it sounded cool beyond just being like something that was like something similar to like a self-title, but not really, you know.
Now, what's the impetus for the lyrics? You say you handle most of the lyrics, man. You know, obviously there's tons of stuff obviously going on that's topical in the world. You know, certainly plenty of stuff to write charged up, angry lyrics about, man. But, you know, but for you, like, what do you draw inspiration from? Are you somebody that looks at the news or looks at like political stuff, or is it more like, you know, like personal struggles, the inner struggle? You know what I mean? Like, obviously I can read into what I interpret the songs, you know what I mean? But from your perspective, man, I mean, like, what well are you drawing from for inspiration?
A lot of the fuel comes from, you know, the human condition, and not just like all humans, but also like specific peoples around the world that experience or an injustices, you know, a lot of that is fueled by that, you know. Yeah, the human condition, and just doing my best to paint a picture of like what's wrong, and you know, what I'm going through personally, and I know people like me are going through, and
Yeah.
I feel there's like a certain sense of duty to be able to express what I'm going through, just in the same way that I've listened to music and been able to relate in a way, you know. It's just like, you know, it does me good to be able to do this, to express it, and then in the same way, it's like a circle that you feed it, feeds you, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's cathartic, I would imagine. Yeah.
yeah, you know. And yeah, a lot of it is fueled by where I've come from, like my roots, you know, like as a like my heritage, you know,
Mm-hmm.
certain struggles that my family have gone through to be able to have to exist here, like, you know, where we're at, geographically, you know, and economically and stuff like
Sure.
that, you know. Like I feel
Yeah.
it. I feel it. It's in my blood. You know, and that type of thinking, in essence, is like what fuels my writing in general, like, and especially for this record, you know.
Yeah.
It was like I felt it was a very concentrated, like the energy, you know.
Yeah.
Even if the words don't necessarily paint that picture, like the feeling that, and like the force of that I put out there is attached to that, you
Yeah,
know.
I feel like that's what hardcore really has always been about, though. You know what I mean? Like about those injustices being like, you know, almost broadcast, and like, you know how they used to say, like, you know, like Ice Cube in the NWA movie. You know, he really made a good point about like, you know, about them almost being like, you know, really like street reporters, like reporting on what they were seeing every single day. You know what I mean? And bringing it to light. You know what I mean? So the rest of the world could kind of understand it. I almost feel like that was like the ethos for hardcore too. You know, hey, here's everything, you know what I mean? Here's what we're seeing. Here's what's fucked up out here, you know what I mean? And here's the shit that needs to be fixed. You know, hardcore, I think, has always been about like shining a light on important stuff. You know, it isn't just the frivolous topics that we see in rock and roll a lot of times where it's, you know, girls and boozing and partying and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? It was always, you know, there was always like a realness to it.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
I always respected that about Agnostic Front because they were always like really singing about those injustices and, you know, just all that stuff that is just is going wrong out there. And you know, there's always that slant on it. It was almost like it was almost like getting your news like through music, you know, being informed.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it like lets you know what's going on in other places that a lot of people aren't from, you know. And
Yeah.
then the people that are from there, they have something, they feel seen in a way, you know, like I know I have from some of my favorite bands, you know. So
are you somebody that ascribes to the whole, you know, like I know watching the Godfathers of Hardcore, you know, and being a fan of Agnostic Front and the New York hardcore scene, like I mentioned before, and, you know, the guys that were doing it right at the beginning there on that Lower East Side of New York, when it was really just grimy and gritty, and they were coming from just, you know, survival to fittest, a really difficult place, and they were writing about it. You know, there was almost like an ethos that went with it, nose to the grindstone. Everything was kind of DIY. You guys aren't really a newer band, but there are newer hardcore bands coming out. You know, do you think that hardcore ethos still exists, or do you think that like maybe it can't really be replicated because, you know, newer bands, you know, have their difficulties, but they might not have it as bad as some of those bands did back in the day? You know, you think the ethos of really living the hardcore life, you know, can still exist nowadays here in the 21st century?
most definitely, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I mean, you know, I wasn't there in the Lower East Side,
Right,
you know, but
right.
I feel as far as it still existing, yeah, my answer is yes, because people are still going through real stuff, you know, and we're
Yeah.
all, you know, hardcore's always like prided itself on being like about things that really happen in reality, you know. And
Yeah.
I think for me that's what I talk about, you know. And it's where I come from, it's like very real, around the way, some things I see day to day.
Yeah.
Just driving to work and,
Sure.
and just the environment I'm in, and I can only speak for myself, so.
You don't have to look really far.
The people,
you don't have to look really far to see a lot of fucked up shit in the world.
Oh, for sure.
It's everywhere.
I'm here, I'm off work now, but I'm at work, but we just moved to a new location. But the location I used to work at was a spot in Golden Hill, San Diego. But, I would drive, it's not far from my house, so I would drive through the street. But just on the way to work, it's just a couple minute drive. It's just like, just people living straight on the street, just the area. There's sex workers, just standing out there at 6 a.m, just all barely with clothes on, you know what I mean? And that's where a part of where I'm from, and like, I don't know if it gets realer than that or not, depending on your definition of real,
Right.
So this is our definition of real.
That's pretty visceral. It is, it is. And as somebody that sings, what the audience would perceive as extreme music, it's obviously, there's a physicality behind it. You obviously put your voice, through a lot. Are you somebody that, because I've talked to a lot of people who sing extreme metal, and they can just kind of jump up there and just kind of just grab a mic and go right into it. Are you one of those guys that can do that? Or are you somebody that ascribes to any type of voice care? Or do you have any type of a ritual, anything that you do specifically to maintain what is essentially your instrument?
In this recent couple of years, I've moved a little bit in that direction.
Yeah.
I do, even though I haven't practiced too much of that, I believe in it and I support people that do. And I probably will, moving forward, I probably will do more stuff like that because, I'm not trying to destroy my voice or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, in the 20 years I've done it, like 18 of them, I've had cold beverages and refreshments, and
jump up there and go
to get started. So,
oddly enough, there are guys that can do that, and I think you're right. Like, as you get older, man, like I've seen different documentaries of like Metallica and Hetfield used to jump up there and just do his thing. Then as he got older, he started to go to vocal coaches and really start doing the vocal exercises and the warming up or whatever. So a lot of it is probably influenced by age as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, that definitely. And my wife.
Yeah.
She'd be like, you need to. What are you're destroying yourself up there,
Yeah.
Like,
well, you gotta listen. You
fun.
gotta listen to the wife. I know firsthand, man. I just had my wedding anniversary yesterday, which is why we moved our interview to today, because I wanted to fucking very much stay married. So I mean,
yeah.
I didn't want to pack it.
Choose your battles and whatnot.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to pick a podcast interview over staying happily married. You know that being a married guy. You got a happy wife, happy life, right?
I hear that.
So let me ask about touring, because obviously that's another part of the musical business that's changed. Like wherein it's not just easy anymore, where record companies just put you on a bus, put you on a plane. It's gotten very expensive to tour. And obviously, you talk about having a day job and stuff like that. And what luxury are you guys able to tour? Like, where is everybody with their respective itineraries? How often can you guys tour? To what extent can you guys tour? How much touring do you like to do? Obviously, we get older. We like our creature comforts. We like to stay home. How comfortable are you guys going out? And are you able to go out? And for how long can you go out?
Oh, I mean, ultimately, for the most part, we've been able to go out whenever we wanted to, except for up till like recently. It started, tides turned a little bit, But our experience has been, we've hit it to our own degree pretty hard. We just came back from Europe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then that was like a few weeks long. And then we did one at the beginning of the year that was about a month long. So we've been traveling for about 2 months out of this year.
Yeah.
I think we don't got nothing planned right now, But I feel like we got to be a little bit more strategic with it these days. Our drummer lives in Milwaukee, so
yeah,
all of us live in San Diego besides him. So for us, we would love to tour. We like getting out on the road. We like to go, destroy a stage somewhere, and do what we got to do and stuff like that. But we also have to pay rent in San Diego. So if the numbers don't add up,
right,
we ain't doing it, and all of us are pretty set, at home. So it's like, that, we've reached a point where it's like, hey, like, if you want us to go somewhere, then get us there, then we'll do it,
Well,
but,
I like you raise a good point, because there is a business aspect to it too. Yeah, you do want to have fun. Yeah, you do want to be creative or whatever, and you do want to get up there and play. But as far as your band goes, and a lot of times people are comfortable in this role, or they delegate someone in the band. Who is the business mind in the band? Is there somebody that that the business side of it falls on? Do any of you guys in the band have a good head for the business side of it, and who is that person?
It's kind of split up a little bit between three of us right now.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's not one sole person that like handles that, It's something we kind of all have counsel on.
Yeah.
And give our say and all that, But I do some of it, Greg does some of it, Randy, we split up like duties and whatnot, so
the non-glamorous part.
Sure. Yeah, like we all have some experience and have had our hand in a little business, so it's not something that's too unfamiliar for us.
So when you guys get out there on the road, you do the festivals, or you get on these different tour packages or whatever, you specifically, man, I'm sure you've rubbed elbows with a lot of the bands that you love or whatever, man. Who have you got a chance to meet that's really been particularly impactful to you? You know what I mean? Like, who have you really kind of geeked out over and said, wow, I can't believe I'm sharing the stage, or I'm on a tour with this person, or I got a chance to meet this person? I don't want to say starstruck, because as you get older, it sounds a little goofy to get starstruck over like another grown man or whatever. But you do get off some of these people. I got to go to Agnostic Front a couple years ago, and I geeked out getting a picture with Vinny Stigma and Roger. I'll fully admit I didn't go full fanboy or nothing, man, but inside I was geeking out a little.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with the Agnostic Front one, that they're a huge one, to where, like, I always say that they're like the best definition of like, someone says don't meet your heroes or whatever,
right.
And it's just in the context of that, like they like prove that wrong, because we toured with them in 2012. We did a European tour with them. They took us on the road.
Yeah,
it was them and the Mongoloids, and it was one of some of my best memories, and
I've seen them go on record many times too, Vinny and Roger, and say fantastic things about you guys too, which is kind of where I kind of got hip to you guys too, because if Agnostic Front is talking up other bands and bands that they go on tour with, I perk up and listen. I love those guys, and so like I kind of take their their advice on like musical taste. Like if they're putting me onto somebody, I respect them so much in the business and respect them as a band. So I first heard of you guys really through them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they're great. They're one of them. There's many, but just to name a few, like Terror, of course.
Yeah.
And I met like Nick when I was like 17, super young, and in the same light, just super welcoming and just a cool guy to know and whatnot. Them, Municipal Waste is super solid. Solid people, and we've shared the road with them a couple times, and both times again was like to have those memories forever and whatnot.
Yeah.
Them, who else?
I got to meet
there's gonna be some at
the Agnostic Front show. At the Agnostic Front show I'm talking about, I got to meet the Sick of It All guys too. Great guys too, man. Shout out to Lou right now, who's battling some health issues too. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Thoughts and prayers go out to him. He's battling some throat cancer issues, man. A legend.
Yeah, prayers to Lou and whatnot. Yeah,
I've had him on here, man. He's a fucking great guy, man. Yeah, I mean, another band that's legendary. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. And even Rogers had his health battles too, man. I mean, from Agnostic Front, man. But those guys are fucking warriors, though, man. Nothing seems to slow those guys down, man. You know what I mean? Like, you go see them in concert, man, and you realize, man, it was my first time seeing them in concert a couple years ago, man. And you certainly go out and see like younger bands and stuff, but then you realize, man, that these older bands, can still get it fucking done. When you see a band like Agnostic Front hit the stage, you really realize like how they became fucking legends. You know what I mean? Here they are fucking 40 years into their career, and they're still fucking smoking bands under the table that are like half their age. You know what I mean? It's really impressive. Like when you're standing in front of a stage and seeing what they do, there's an energy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible.
They really are built to last,
Yeah. And obviously Stigma is just one of those fucking characters that's just, his own. His book just came out, and I'm a couple pages into it, but I'm really looking forward to the audio version coming out next month, because I don't think anybody could probably tell a story like Vinny Stigma could.
No, he's a national treasure, as they say.
One of the true characters, yeah.
He's the best.
And so, as a New York guy, to switch gears from music for a little bit, if I were to come out to California, and I never have been, obviously we're spoiled here in New York. We've got some of the best Italian food. We've got some of the best pizza. We've got our shit here in New York. If I come out to California, man, what's the shit that you got to have when you come out to California, food-wise?
Well, Mexican food, of course, like Southern California,
Yeah.
I'm not going to hate on Northern California food, but California is so big, I'll focus on Southern California. But really, whatever city or part of town you're in, you gotta ask. I feel like it's similar to pizza for y'all. Like you gotta ask whatever town you're in, what place to go to.
You got your spot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's and around here, I call this place the land of 10,000 taco shops. So it's like
that many,
like a specific dish you're looking for. Then you go to this spot. You're looking for a California burrito. You got these 3 spots that are the best. And it's whatever you're looking for. Street tacos. You gotta go to TJ. You gotta go to Mexico.
Now, what is the difference between getting a taco in a taco shop and what you refer to as a street taco, other than the location? Is one better than the other?
Well, some taco shops will serve street tacos, and street tacos are really, it's a smaller taco. It's it's specifically it's a corn tortilla, and it's smaller than
it's made to kind of grab and go.
Yeah, and it's soft. It's not like a crispy tortilla, not like that. It's and it's simple. It's just the meat, some onions, and some herbs, some cilantro, and that's it.
Yeah,
salsa and all that. But
but so you being of Mexican heritage, though, is tacos the pinnacle of the Mexican food? Like, if you had to pick one dish of your Mexican heritage, I seriously doubt it would be a taco, though. Like, what would be your go-to dish? Like, if you were to turn someone on to Mexican food, what would you say? You've got to fucking try this.
I mean, that's right there. But yeah, there's plenty of dishes. There's a dish called pozole, which is like a soup dish, and that's something that my family I grew up eating from them. That's something that's or there's menudo, which is similar, except menudo has which I'm not a fan of, because it has the intestine, the tripe.
Oh, we're going there now. We're going to intestines now.
But that's some my wife, that's her favorite, so it depends if you ask, and that's top tier stuff right there, and it cures hangovers and all that, it's like a weekend special. There's that.
So is your wife
I'm a California guy, so I just love burritos and whatnot, and that's more specific. And then the number one place to know if a taco shop really knows what they're doing is the rice and beans. You have to try that. And it's like, if you get that wrong, like the rest of it's probably not good, you know. Not to hate on people trying to make a living and all that, you know,
but you shouldn't fuck that one up. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know how to do that. That's the foundation of Mexican food right there, at least now.
And now, does your wife have a Mexican background too?
Yeah, she's Mexican and Native Hawaiian.
So you're very lucky that she knows how to probably throw down in the kitchen and prepare these dishes then.
Oh yeah, she knows how to cook up. Yeah.
So who's the better cook out of you two? Because you both have Mexican heritage. Who's the better cook? Who does more of the lion's share of the cooking? Are you pretty adept in the kitchen or no?
I'm gonna say she's better just so I have to cook less.
Yeah, I know. I would say that about my wife too, though. I mean, you know, because for a long time, man, you know, me and my wife were both nurses, you know, so that's our day job. So working in healthcare, you obviously have to work a certain shift or whatever. You know, you usually end up on days, evenings, or overnights. So for a while, early on in our career, she was the one on day. I was the one on days. She was the one on the 3 to 11 shift. So I was home with the kids at night a lot. So, you know, but I wouldn't say that even though I had to make dinner for them, you know what it was? There was a lot of, what I used to call fend for yourself night, where the kids could just go and make whatever the fuck they wanted. Because I'm not all that good in the kitchen. So I would just let them go do their thing. Maybe one of them wanted ramen. One of them wanted mac and cheese. One of them wanted to make something frozen out of the freezer, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. No, but all jokes aside, she's a great cook. I think I cook all right too. You know, I think we'll cook together and all that stuff. You know, so
when you're on the road, so when you're on the road and you're touring, obviously you made reference earlier that you like that part of the musical journey, because a lot of guys, you know, it's like they want to go out for a little while, but then they really want to be home. And obviously, probably, you know, you having a wife and a family and stuff like that, a certain part of you wants to be home too. But you did allude to the fact that you like being on the road. But when you are on the road, what is the one creature comfort that you do miss the most? Obviously, we're talking about food or whatever. It might not even be that, obviously, but like, what do you really like? You know, you get out on the road, you're a week or two into the tour. What's the first thing you usually start to miss? Your own bed? I mean, you know, like, what do you usually start to say, God damn, if I wish I was home so I could have?
Oh, that's a good one. Food's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the being in your own space. Like it's too bad I don't got teleportation, because I want to be out and traveling, and then go to my room after and sleep.
Yeah.
And then in the morning I'll, you know, be back in the van or whatever.
Because I imagine a tour bus is probably, you know, obviously I've watched a lot of those Bus Invaders episodes, you know, on YouTube and stuff, where where like the tour comes through Chicago and that guy comes and checks out the tour buses or whatever. And it does look like it's, there's a part of that nomadic existence that looks kind of fun, and it looks kind of glamorous and fun for a little while. But then at the end of the day, there is 10 or 12 guys, and you're all kind of sleeping in those fucking coffins with a fucking curtain. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like it's fun for a while, but it's got to wear thin after a while.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, traveling, just traveling alone, takes its toll, you know?
Yeah.
And touring is really, it's what you make it, you know? Like, it goes, as cliche as that sounds, you know, like it kind of depends on what your personality is and what your character is, you know?
Right.
And like, I've been fortunate enough to tour with, you know, my best friends and whatnot. And we all know how to talk shit to each other. And
that helps.
And like joke around, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, speak up when you need to talk about something, or, you know, like, those are my brothers, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, we've had a great time, you know, but that's because we made it that way, you know?
Right.
It is fun and games, but like, only, you know, not all the time.
Right. But as a lead singer though, obviously these guys get to the venue, and I'm certainly not degrading what they do, because being proficient on an instrument is an art, you know, in and of itself. You know, but you getting on the stage, you know, your instrument is the human voice. Do you find it difficult? Do you feel yourself getting worn down? And what do you do to avoid that when you're on the road? Obviously, you know, it's probably a little more difficult to get adequate rest. And I mean, obviously, probably you're trying to stay hydrated. You're trying to get your sleep. You're trying probably to like, you know, try to minimize how much maybe you're using your voice and stuff. I mean, you know, how do you sustain? Like, if a young vocalist is out there right now, man, like, what could you say to a person like on the road if you're the guy like using your instrument as your human voice?
Sure. For me, you know, two keys are like, I make sure I get as much rest as possible, you know, because like getting your rest in really counts and helps. And staying hydrated, like those together. I do my best to keep up with, you know, whenever I can. Like if it wasn't during the nighttime, like sometime during the day, I'll go lay down somewhere, rest up, you know, like just I'll fuck off somewhere. And you know, even the people in the band can vouch for me, like just me falling asleep random places, or like just like, you know, or just gone missing. Like one time I remember we were on the road and we had to take a ferry, you know, we were coming back from somewhere on a boat ride, and I passed out. Like I went by myself somewhere off in the boat, you know, and like passed out somewhere in the boat. And I like crashed out so hard I didn't even hear them like emptying the ferry and stuff like that. Everyone was leaving and I almost got left behind, you know. Like I had to run out of the ferry and they were already in the van, like down the way. Someone was running back to get me. But you know, that's just a testament to like, you know, rest is important, you know.
Well, I'm glad you said van, because when you guys go out now on a tour, you know, are you still in the van or are you at like a bus stage now in your career?
Oh, we do a van.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Europe and in the States. We've owned two different vans before. We haven't in a while. But yeah, now we'll rent something, you know.
Right. So for musicians that don't understand, like the van, you know, a bus in and of itself, if you've never seen a tour bus, is essentially, you know, there's bunks on there, which don't look super comfortable, but they are somewhat of a bed kind of stacked up or whatever, man. So like a van is even taking it one step further, like where you really have to gut it out and really tough it out, because essentially you're just, you know, you're sitting in a van and like where you're sitting essentially is where you're resting sometimes. Most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You know, we'll do the old sleeping on the bench seat, or you know, both vans that we had, each time we the first time we had a friend who was a welder, and he welded us in like a nice sturdy loft into the van, you know.
Yeah, I've seen those
when we were younger, and it was like, you know, it was strong. So we were hooked up then we'd get some good rest in that thing, you know, whether we were driving during the day or overnight to the next location. And then the next one we made another loft, you know. I think Greg and Randy, I think, put that one together, but also good, and worked out really well for us, you know, really helped, you know. So if you are the younger band or band coming up, starting to tour, you know, if you got friends that build things, you know, ask them to hook it up, you know, give them some money.
And now, do you guys take turns with the driving?
Yeah, we're a band that all of us drive.
Yeah,
I love to drive. Like we all like to drive, so that's never been an issue.
Now, do you think it's good though, man? Like, because I kind of find that you know, there is kind of a romanticism like about the starting out in the van. Yeah, it's nomadic and it's very tough and certainly very challenging, man. But, you know, but I think a lot of bands ought to start out there though, man, because like I think, you know, where you start and where you end up, you have a greater appreciation rather than having things handed to you though. I almost think sometimes, man, that like when you're put on a tour bus or you're given things too easy in life, you know, it almost is better to pay your dues though. Like I think would you agree in retrospect when you look back at your career, man, you know, that doing it the way you guys have done it, probably to a certain degree, like certainly builds a tenacity and a toughness?
Yeah, I mean,
sure, I'm sure you'd love to be on a private plane. Who the fuck wouldn't be, or whatever? But there's something to be said about like starting out and really earning your chops or whatever on, you know, five guys driving in a van.
Yeah, from where I stand, I think it feels well earned and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like a fraud. Not to say that someone that gets handed that would feel that way, but like we put in like the hours and
Yeah.
the effort, so it feels good, to make that happen, and that's something I think we draw from, like you're saying, the ethos, or like I'm saying, the ethos, and where punk and
Yeah.
this type of music comes from is just really do it yourself, so that's like, I feel like we carry that with us, and after doing that, it doesn't feel so bad if someone hands you something. They're not really handing it to you. It feels like you earned
Right.
it,
It's not
Yeah,
like
like
it's
there's
not like
no.
it's not like you're gonna be upset when you see like take offense like written across like a private jet. That would certainly be nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like 'cause no one can take that away from you.
Right.
What you put into something, you're putting it in, and it's like giving to yourself almost, and it's,
Yeah.
yeah, like no one could take what you give to yourself,
I really like the take offense band name. Like, where does that come from? Who steps up and takes credit for naming the band? Because I'll tell you what, that's one of the tougher things in life to do. Because I've had a couple of friends who are in bands, and actually naming the band and trying to find a name online that isn't fucking taken is damn near impossible. Even when you think of some really fucking stupid ones, somebody has thought of them. Oddly enough, I mean, but who takes credit for take offense? That's a great name.
Uh, I came up with the band name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started with, we started with three of us. I was 14, so it was just, I had the name. We started practicing, and it just stuck. There was one time, maybe like a year or two into being Take Offense,
Yeah.
where we were contemplating, oh, should we change it? And I think we asked a couple friends, like for some counsel, like what they thought, like if that'd be weird or whatever,
Was there
and
another
everyone's
band
like,
name
no.
in the running at all? Were there any other suggestions, good or bad?
I had an idea for called Shock Point.
Shock or shop?
Shock.
Shock Point. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty fleeting. Like it wasn't something that we contemplated for long.
And what was the
We're like,
reception?
nah,
What was the reception from the other guys? Were they shooting it down?
no, I just, not like directly. Maybe it was like, it either would have been like hit or miss. So like it didn't hit. So yeah, it wasn't like it was an easy letdown, I think.
Yeah. What's the process for like that? Like you suggest Shock Point, and what happens, man? Like it gets put to a vote. You guys go around the room and say, who likes this name?
I don't. My recollection isn't like that sharp on like how it all went down. Yeah. But I know it was lightly discussed,
And so how many years had you guys at that point been Take Offense when you start contemplating like a name change?
I think just over a year, like a year and a half or something like that.
And when you think of a name change like that, what spurs that? Like, do you just think like, geez, Take Offense, it doesn't sound that catchy, or it's not going to help us take off? Or like, what's the impetus for saying, hey, I think a year in, we should change our band name? Like, what's the thought process behind it? Because obviously you branded yourself a certain way. Branding obviously is very important in the music business. You're already Take Offense. You're somewhat established. You're saying you're like a year into your career. What's the impetus to make that move? Like, what's going through your head? Like when you say, maybe we should dump Take Offense and try something else?
I think it was mostly like, we started the band young, right? Super young.
Right.
And then after a year and a half, like you've grown up so much, from being young. And
Right.
it's like it starts to feel like you need to like match how you're feeling now, I think it's just a matter of like being young and wanting to like just be
impulsive.
Just yeah.
Much. To a degree.
Like yes, I think so.
So you guys
but, were, yeah. So it didn't happen. We're like, nah, Take Offense is cool.
You take offense is good, and it has a great ring to it too. And I think it kind of has that double entendre too, because it's almost like I don't know how you meant the name or how literal you meant it, but like take offense is kind of like either you guys are taking offense to everything that's going on, or you want the music to fucking like to almost like be offensive and abrasive. You know what I mean? Like here's our music, fuck, take offense to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
it's kind of got that cool double meaning.
Also, like. I in my young mind back then, it was like it really made me think about like taking action or like taking the offense kind of in a way like you're making your move now, like you have to know who you are, what you're about, and now you're bringing it out, like that was my frame of mind then, but also on the like kind of like if somebody does something you don't agree with, like, let it be known, like they're trying to impose themselves on you, stand up for yourself. And that was the kind of like feeling and the thought process behind it.
Obviously, as soon as we're done with this conversation, I've got to go Google though, man. I'm not going to be able to help myself. I've got to go see if anybody has become Shock Point. Is there a Shock Point to the best of your knowledge out there?
I'm not sure, no, but you can let me know.
I will.
There is.
Yeah, you're damn right I will. And I feel like there's a very good chance that somebody else might have thought about that name. I don't know why, but I've had some friends, like I said, that were in bands, and they've thought of some of the goofiest fucking out there shit you could ever imagine, and then they go on there and somebody has that name. It's not easy, to find a name that someone hasn't tried to sink their claws into.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I wonder. It's like, will they ever run out of them?
Yeah, I know. It's fucking crazy. So, like, when do you think about, like, because the music business is so fickle, and it does seem like, a band is here today, gone tomorrow. You're on people's brains, and then suddenly something else comes along, and you're not fucking hot shit anymore or whatever. I mean, it seemed like for a while that was the trend, like I said earlier, around COVID time. Oh shit, there's so much music coming out. I read somewhere, someone told me there's like 30,000 new songs a day going up on the streaming platforms. So there's a lot of creativity out there. There's obviously no way to consume all of it. We can only listen to so much throughout the course of a day between working and sleeping and everything else we got to do. So, at this time of in society, there's no shortage of music out there. So it seems like everybody's afraid of being forgotten about. How fast do you think about when the next project comes along? Do you want it to be another 5 years till another album comes out? Do you have a definitive timeline on like, hey, let's get something? I mean, obviously I know this one just came out, so you're not thinking about another album immediately, but do you think about when you want the next project to be out by, or have a definitive timeline? Geez, let's wait. Let's not go 5 years. Let's do 3 or 2 or get something out, in a year from now.
I would like to put something out before the end of next year.
Okay.
I mean, I'd already been thinking about another album before we even put this one, the T.O.tality, out.
Yeah.
Probably because also of how long it took us to put T.O.tality. I'm like, all right.
You almost feel like you want to make up for lost time.
In a way.
In a sense. Yeah.
And there's a touch of that, but also I like to create music. Like that's what I love to do. I like to put things together, just to create and put it out there for whoever's listening,
Are you somebody that's writing and creating on a daily basis? Like, do you feel like you write something or create something every day, whether it's usable or something that you consider good or not? Do you have that spark of creativity where, you feel creatively inspired a lot?
If I took the time to, yeah, I could definitely do that. I don't do it, but I would say most days out of the week, I'm jotting something down, like something like something lyrically, or I'll write. I'll sit down, play guitar for a little bit, record a little riff here and there.
Are there times when you're creatively
more than not, I'm doing something. Maybe not for like a lengthy period of time, but I'm constantly like feel like I should sit down, and I do, and
are there times when you get creatively frustrated, and what do you do during those times? Like, I don't want to use the term writer's block, but for lack of a better term, are there times when you feel stalled creatively, and like, how do you get yourself jump started, or do you never really run into that problem?
I've ran into it. There's actually been one song that we're supposed to record on the Keep an Eye Out record. You know, we had, what is there? I think there was like 10 or 11 tracks on there, maybe 10. But there was supposed to be 11, and I could not come up with anything for one of the tracks. Or I could come up with stuff, but it didn't feel, I didn't like it. What I was coming up with. So that one got trashed, you know.
And so the other guys don't jump in, and so the other guys don't jump in, from a lyrical standpoint. The other guys, are comfortable with just saying, all the lyrics are Anthony's. You know what I mean? So they won't jump in and say, "Hey, it looks like you're struggling with this one. I've got something to lend to it." That domain is always 100% yours.
It has been. been. As far as like that as an example, that song, when I was doing those sessions, I went up there by myself. I went because we were recording up in LA. That's where we've been recording for the last few years. So it was a matter of like, it's me and Nick, and I went up there for like a week, almost, or a few days, maybe close to a week, to finish up the tracks,
Yeah.
And it was just like on one of the last days, like I thought I was going to be able to pump it out, and I just couldn't. And in that moment, that's probably the only time ever we've in our career of doing things, where I couldn't like complete a track, So maybe it'll be revisited later or something, but
yeah.
But other times when I do have that, I'll just forget about it. I'll forget about what I'm doing, and I'll just go live my life, go enjoy myself, and just come back to it. Like I don't even stress it or think about it too hard, because in a way I don't feel like I need to or have to or should, like I'm gonna go in there and complete what we gotta finish, whenever that is, or it just won't make the cut,
So if an idea doesn't come completely to fruition, do you scrap it, or does everything get kept for possible use on down the road? I mean, do ideas ever get scrapped, or like you say, do you go back and like revisit stuff, or say, geez, a while back I wrote that one thing or whatever. I'd like to go back and maybe see if I can connect the dots, and maybe it'll be pertinent to this project.
Yeah, like still for that song, even like those riffs still echo through my brain and stuff. So I feel like eventually it'll come back, but.
So like, what's the process? You got stuff like just on like notebooks, like you just keep fucking shit, like there's like Post-its and notes and shit all over the place, or you keep the stuff on a computer, on a phone, like what's your like process in terms of like where you create from? Are you like old school, writing it out longhand on paper?
Anytime we're gonna like, we know we're gonna go record an album, I'll buy a notebook, so that I have the notebook for that album. Then I'll write some in there. I write a lot on my phone, and then on my computer too. So those three ways is how I do it, and like I was saying earlier, like the writing process for me, for the most part, I feel like I just write a jigsaw puzzle of lyrics, where like, that's, after doing that, I'll come back to my house or something and sit there and put all the puzzle pieces together,
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
And so that's like I think that's like the overall, if I had to like say what my writing style is, like that. I feel like I'm sitting at a table putting the puzzle together, and yeah, that's how it is.
And do the guys just have wholehearted trust in you? Like, do you ever say, "Hey guys, here's what I wrote. Let me bounce this off you," or do they just come up with the music and they just say, whatever Anthony sings or puts over this, man, we have complete trust, or do you allow them to look at at the lyrics and ask for any kind of feedback or input?
I've shared stuff, not everything, but a lot of the times, you know, in the beginning of sessions, they'll be there to hear stuff too, you know, and if I'm always open to ideas, so I'm not like to a degree like any of us are, like I'm controlling in my way, but I'm also like open to ideas, and you know, I want to hear what people have to say, so I will share that, you know. And also I believe in like asking too, so like if someone wants to hear something or see what I wrote down, like just ask me and I'll show you.
And so based on that, you're not like you know, like you do leave that creative door open where like if the guy suggests something, you know, like you might take it under advisement and actually go in and change or tweak something like based on their input.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've actually done that, but like it's nice to like as far as using the words, for example, like Randy, our bassist, he's forwarded me some like lyrics ideas that he's had before, but I don't think I use the words per se, but it's nice to like see where someone else is drawing from, and you know, like I could match like in that way, like, you know, the essence of what they're saying and stuff like that, you know.
I see where he's coming from. Let me put my spin on it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and just to add to like the way I write things, the process of mine is like a lot of the time I'll come up with just a song title, like that really just is a topic, and then like I go from there. I don't necessarily. It's rare that I name the song after I like wrote the song, if that makes sense.
So the title
like
comes first for you.
A lot of the time, yeah. I feel like that's backwards. I don't know, but for some, compared to like a lot of people.
So is that where you get inspiration from? So like you feel like you write better like once you've got like once you've got the particular song, you know, it's like titled something, you know what I mean? Like you need that part of the framework done first.
Yeah, like the title, you know, because I feel like the title is like it's always grabbed me. Like I want to know what that's about. Like what's that? You know?
Yeah. Now, I usually save this for towards the end of the interview, man, because some people have a quick answer to this and they give it no thought at all. Sometimes they deliberate on it, but you know, for you, from a fan standpoint, if you're going to listen to music for your own enjoyment, you know, and obviously you probably have an eclectic taste in a lot of bands to draw from, but your Mount Rushmore, you know, your 4 fucking artists, man, that you can't live without.
The 4.
Yeah. You know, your top 4, completely subjective, obviously not the greatest 4 bands of all time, just for you. You know, think of it like you're on a fucking desert island. These are the only 4 bands you can listen to fucking forever.
Yeah, I won't think too hard on it. Let's say well, Motorhead would be one of them. That's one of my favorites for sure.
Love them.
I'm not gonna go with Sade because I love Sade.
See, coming out, and that's why I thought this is an interesting question, man. I love to ask it about people because I think people think like, you know, as a hardcore artist, man, you know, and I find the most interesting thing is that usually the type of music people play is not necessarily what they want to listen to all the time.
No. I mean, I listen to it a lot, but you know, sometimes there's other things going on in life for me.
No doubt. All right, go ahead. We got Motorhead and Sade.
Bad Brains.
Okay.
Bad Brains that's one of my favorites for sure.
It's never a wrong answer. Yep.
Yeah. That's 3, right? 2, the Bad Brains could be the Mount Rushmore, you know, the 4 of them, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then we'll mix it all up. I'm a big fan of hip hop and stuff too, so I'll put who am I gonna go with? For the sake of it, I listen to a lot of him and a lot of them lately too. Always is Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
Hip-hop dude.
Yeah.
So it's a little mix.
And that just goes to show your eclectic taste though, man. You know what I mean? Like I like that though. And now why specifically like some of these artists though, man? Like why we'll start with Motorhead, man. Like why Motorhead, man? Obviously, you know, they're fucking legends. Another legend gone, rest in peace, fucking Lemmy, one of the all-time fucking great rock gods of all fucking time, man. But why Motorhead's music? What does Motorhead's music do to you?
Oh man. Well, for the most part, I judge music and the music that I like, or we'll call it the best, because like it makes me want to move in some way. Like it moves me, like not in multiple definitions of the word. Like I physically want to like throw myself off something, or like run through somebody. Or so Motorhead's one of those bands where I want to like jump off a balcony or something.
I got a little bummed out. Last couple of shows I've gone to, man, I'm 51 years old. Obviously, I've had a couple of back surgeries, man. So I can't, I really got to call it a day on the fucking slam dancing, man. But boy, did I want to get in there during that Agnostic Front show. But I'll tell you what, though, and I don't know if you see this, you're certainly on the road a lot, though, man. It seems like a lot of kids nowadays have lost the essence of the dancing part, and they really seem like they're in there to fucking hurt people.
Yeah, I think it's been going on for a long time, and it probably has magnified.
Yeah, the essence,
the last 2 years.
The essence of the dancing part and the expression of the dancing part. It just looks like everybody wants to backslap each other, and they're just out to just like, geez, who can I punch or fucking land something that's going to cause some damage? And that really wasn't the essence of it back in the day. If your brother went down in the pit, you fucking stopped and you helped him up. I mean, there was a camaraderie in there, even though it was kind of predicated on this violence and this physicality.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't support it, although to a degree I understand it, but I don't support it. Like we're all there to like, we have something it's a likely story that a lot of us probably have some stuff going on that no one knows about, that like we want to let out some aggression and all that, right? But I think that type of stuff a lot of the time is like just misguided. It's like we're not supposed to be enemies,
Right.
I know for sure, like I ain't nobody's enemy there,
Right.
And it's pointless. It's senseless and pointless when it gets like that, And I'm someone who is, I don't know. I don't see a point to like, just like really trying to hurt somebody there.
I know.
Like I get people get hurt because it's by nature. It's like that,
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being like getting a little crazy or whatever, and intentionally like looking somebody in the eye or
ordinarily back in the
trying
day
to do damage.
Yeah, ordinarily if you got injured back in the day, man, it was usually strictly unintentional. Now it seems like people are going out of their way to pinpoint ways and opportunities like where they can actually inflict some pain, intentionally. It seems like, like before it was just, okay, man, you might catch an inadvertent elbow, somebody might fucking check you onto the fucking floor or whatever. I mean, but it was, then someone's hand was coming down there to kind of help you up though, There's a little more of a sense of camaraderie. I think that's a little bit lost in today's generation.
Yeah, I think the lines for some people are blurry. And then others, it's like, like you're saying, like they just really want to, fuck somebody up or whatever.
Yeah. Now, so for people that aren't familiar who might be watching this and don't know Take Offense's music or have not had the opportunity to see you guys live, man, what could you say to those people? Hey, if we're rolling through your town, come to see us and you will get.
It's intensity, and you'll get a wild, untamed time from us, like on the stage, and we're there to share that experience where, if you're there to listen, then we got something for you,
Yeah.
Or not,
Yeah. And what about the new album, man? Like, if you were speaking directly to people fucking saying, hey, if you slap this new album on T.O.tality, man, you can guarantee this. I can tell people right now it's fucking killer from top to fucking bottom, man. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan and because you're on here, man. I mean, I dig all the eclectic fucking directions that you guys are coming from. I love the fact that I made notes on here. I love the fact that, I am really a big fan of that term crossover hardcore, which was really, born and bred a long time ago, man. As I mentioned earlier, the Cause for Alarm, Agnostic Front album. I hear the Excel. I hear the DRI. I hear. I even wrote down Nuclear Assault on here. I don't know why, but I wrote down that it made me think of Nuclear Assault. Made me think of Suicidal, SOD, MOD, the Crumb Suckers. You know what I mean? It just, it's like a good melting pot of all that stuff that we love about hardcore and thrash, which a lot of bands, don't have both of those elements. Like usually somebody is either metal or hardcore, but there's not a lot of bands like really melding together that crossover sound that much anymore and doing it as well as you guys do.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it's gonna make your eyes bleed. It's gonna make your teeth hurt, and it's gonna make you want to fly and stuff. So yeah,
those are all good guarantees, man. Eyes bleeding, teeth hurting, and wanting to fly. Although, as he said earlier, don't jump off any fucking balconies, though. Don't do that.
No, watch yourself. Yeah, I'm not trying to tell you to do that. Don't
watch yourself. And so like, when do you expect, for fans that might want to know? Obviously, as I said, this album just came out in 2024. You alluded to the fact that you'd love to have something out next year. Does that seem feasible that will be a reality, though? And I know that you could probably speak on this because you are the voice of the band. You are an integral part of the band. I know, obviously, there's other members and components of the band, man. But would you say to the fans that there's a good likelihood of seeing more Take Offense music in 2025?
Based on the last conversation we all had with one another, it is something that is definitely possible.
Yeah.
I think we need to have another little conversation, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, it's hard nowadays because I think the fans don't realize, man, and I've even seen bands up to and including having Kickstarters even, man, because obviously, if you want new music from your band, sometimes it's not that easy just to get guys into, studios cost, engineers cost, production cost, promotion cost. It's not just easy to say, hey, why aren't you putting out an album every year or every 2 years? You know what I mean? It's not as easy as it once was.
No, for sure. Yeah, it ain't easy. It takes effort. It takes some real life effort and work.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. So it ain't. It's for anyone, but not for everyone. So
right.
And and I know that's speaking from my own experience.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say, man, that this conversation was everything I wanted it to be, man. I'm such a big fan, man. I'm glad I fucking ran you down. I appreciate the time, man. We spent close to an hour and 15 minutes on here, man, but it seemed like it flew right by, man. Just a great conversation, man. I've now inserted myself into your life, man. I will expect to have you back on here again, man, because I love chopping it up with you, man. It was everything I wanted it to be, man. I love what you do. Sincerely, man. I love your band, man. I love what you're all about. I love the sound. I love the message, man. And I will let you in on a secret since we bonded so well. That I do my little preamble at the beginning of my show before you're in here, and usually after my guest is logged out, where I do this little spiel to kind of set myself apart from other podcasters, where I play up this whole where I really think that I'm the illegitimate son of Mr. Diamond David Lee Roth back there. So so just to let you know, just so you don't pull my hardcore card, it's not the real hair. I promise.
No worries, Alex. I'll take a word for it. Yeah.
The kind of look I was getting when you first logged on, like, oh my God, man, did I just log on here with some fucking glam metal fucking guy or whatever, man? But listen, I'm in court viciously fighting and trying to get DNA testing here. I want a little bit of that Panama money. I think I got it coming to me.
Yeah, like a nice red sports car doesn't sound too bad.
I deserve it. Yeah, I deserve it. And hey, I mean, if you're gonna pick a rock frontman to be your father, man, I think David Lee Roth is a pretty good one. He's 70 years old. I'm 51. It's feasible that David Lee Roth could have been impregnating somebody at 18 or 19 years old. I don't think this is a stretch. That David Lee Roth was probably doing pretty well with the ladies around that age, right?
No, yeah, I'm sure you have probably a couple siblings you don't know about too, and all that.
Oh my God, yeah. And you know what? That has always puzzled me though, how David Lee Roth has managed to not only get married, but not get rooked into having any kids either. He's really played his cards right. I mean, yeah, you make a good point. There could be some out there that he doesn't know about, man. But that's pretty rare though. Usually those guys at that point in their career, they've had multiple wives, they've got kids, or maybe kids coming out of the woodwork from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, he's an interesting cat when you think about it, dude. He's got none of that. No baggage.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and by no means am I referring to women and kids, which I have some of both, and grandkids. I don't want to call them baggage by any means, but I mean, still, he somehow managed to like avoid all of those trappings in life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, either way, I love some Van Halen too. So
that's probably a bad term to use too. I'm glad my wife isn't home to fucking hear me refer to her as trappings and baggage, though, man. It's good that she's at work tonight, man. That's probably a good thing, man. And you probably saved my marriage yesterday by being so cooperative with rescheduling to tonight. I don't know what I was fucking thinking going back last week, but I literally scheduled 3 interviews for yesterday, man. And I don't know what I was thinking, man. It was awfully hard to fucking cough up to my wife, man, that I made these interviews and kind of lost sight of our anniversary, man. That's not a good look.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta.
Not at all. I wouldn't advise anybody, and it was my 26th wedding anniversary, man. So I wouldn't advise anybody to do that and expect to get 26 years in.
Yeah, word. Yeah, best wishes. Happy anniversary.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. And listen, man, this was a lot of fun, man. Definitely keep in touch, man. I'll send you the link in a couple days when I put the episode up, man. Share it around or whatever, man. But I appreciate it, man. Like I said, I love what you do, man. And I'm always looking forward to whenever you guys drop anything, man. I'm really a fan.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate that. You know, that was a pleasure to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for all the time, man. Keep in touch. We'll do it again soon, man.
All right.
Thanks, my
Peace,
friend.
man.
Good
Have a good
talking
one.
to you, man. All right. Later, man. There he goes, folks. A front man almost as equally great as me and my pops. Anthony Herrera, vocalist for what I consider, and you know I'm a big agnostic front guy, a big New York hardcore guy. I don't like to put a lot of bands in front of my New York hardcore staples, the AFs, the Sick of It Alls. But these guys out there on the West Coast, Chula Vista, San Diego, Southern California area, take offense. I can't talk them up enough. As I said many times in the interview, they do the crossover thrash hardcore thing better than anybody doing it today. Think Crumbsuckers, think DRI, think Excel, think Suicidal Tendencies, think MOD, SOD, just all that fucking shit that we love from the thrash speed metal world and the fucking amazing hardcore, nose to the grindstone, blue collar DIY, type attitude that we love from the hardcore world, fused together in a fucking extremely happy and harmonious marriage, man. That's what Take Offense fucking brings to the table, man. I can't talk them up enough. Their new album just dropped here in 2024 called T.O.tality, with a big emphasis on the T and the O at the beginning, which obviously is for Take Offense. 14 songs, a trim and ready 42 and a half minutes of blistering start to finish kick acidness. That's the word for today, kids. Kick acidness. I might have made that up. I might not have made that up, but for the sake of this episode, I will take fucking credit for it. Kick acidness. Take Offense has provided that on 2024's T.O.tality. It's their first full length since 2019, which was Keep an Eye Out. They did have an EP in between, Cause and Effect. So this is the first full length in 5 years, but it was fucking worth the wait. Not that we want to wait for Take Offense music, and we certainly don't want to wait 5 years. And Anthony, hopefully, fingers crossed, alluded to the fact that we will not wait another 5 years. Might not even have to wait another full year. Might be seeing something coming down the pike from the boys in 2025. Again, fingers crossed. I hope so, man. But this is a band that is important, relevant, and really leading hardcore in an amazing direction. I don't want to call them a new band because they've been at it since 2004. Them now in their 20th year. So congratulations, which I didn't give to him, but hopefully he'll watch this back. Quite a milestone, man, especially in today's music business, to make it 20 successful years. And I would certainly call what they do a success. They are successful because the music speaks for itself. The ethos, the things that they sing about, the material. It's everything you want in your hardcore. An eye on, as he said, human behavior, and of course the injustices that we see in the world that hardcore has always spoken to us about. Take offense. They just do it all. And trust me, man, again, this is another band that you will come back and say, hey, fucking Uncle Rexx, fucking thanks. Thanks for hipping me to take offense. I'm a fucking fan. I expect to see that. If there's any comments in the comment section, I expect to see a few thank yous. Uncle Rexx will put you onto the good fucking shit. Again, this is where the cool kids come to chop it up. And Anthony Herrera is one of those cats, man. Certainly one of the big creative driving forces behind that band, certainly lyrically wise, as he alluded to, man. And just a phenomenal fucking conversation. Can't thank him enough for spending the better part of over an hour with me, man. I've been really geeking out and looking forward to this episode. I look forward to all of them. Everybody I have on here for a reason, because I respect and admire what they do, and I'm a fan, and I'm looking forward to chopping it up with them and having an amazing conversation. And I just had one with Anthony Herrera, so gratis to him, man. Really appreciate it, man. If you guys like this episode, and even if you fucking don't, I don't give a shit. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Like and follow us on Facebook, man. Stay tapped in. As I said, man, this is where only the coolest come to chop it up with, obviously, the fucking coolest host on the fucking planet. Yours truly, the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by a million fans. Mr. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am. Shazam, hot damn, the son of Diamond David Lee Roth, right here in the flesh. We will prove it very soon as I continue to work with my lawyers through the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. I've got the of course, the Freddie Mercury puppet always has my back. And of course, back here, Overkill has Cali, Iron Maiden has Eddie, Podscum has Sludge, back here working his fingers. And of course, I've always got Michael Myers watching my back too. The preeminent slasher serial killer, man. How can I fucking lose? How can I lose? Michael's got my back, and Freddy's got his fucking teeth out in full force, ready to gnaw any opponents to death. That's why we're mowing everybody down in the podcast world and standing triumphantly. And also great conversations like this, man, with the most interesting and amazing people in the music and arts world, man. And Anthony Herrera is one of those fucking cats, man. I've gone on long enough. Remember, stay tapped in. And as I always end these things, let me remind you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.